All right. Hey, guys, and welcome to our very first episode of the Refined Podcast.
Welcome.
I am your host, Sydney Adams.
And I'm your host, Jayson King, co-host, right?
Co-host. Yeah, we're both. Yeah, I guess that's what we say. We need to learn the lingo now that we're podcasters. But yeah, we've been pretty excited about this, and we've been talking about it for a little bit, and
yeah. Let's give that story, because this all kind of happened so fast and so quick, and somehow a podcast got brought up, and I was like, well, let's start our own. And we've talked about it beforehand, but it's kind of just like, an idea.
Right.
Kind of like, let's just do it.
We both separately have always loved listening to podcasts, and we always had, it would be so cool to have a podcast, but we're definitely opposites in the sense that when I have an idea, I want all my ducks in a row beforehand, and that it was the same when I started a YouTube channel. I was like, I kept thinking, I need to learn how to record and how to edit and all of this. And so I was kind of the same with the idea of a podcast. I wanted all of my ducks in a row, and I probably would have kept putting it off. But since you are the opposite in the sense, you're like, why the heck not? Why not? Let's just go for it.
Yeah, let's do it. I just, I feel like there's so much good behind it. So it's kind of like, why would we not? And why would we wait any longer? So here we are. I'm excited. I know you're excited. So, speaking on the name, how did we come about that?
Yeah.
It was more so of your idea. So how did you come about that?
Well, so the definition of refine is to improve something by making small changes, in particular, make an idea, theory, or method more accurate. And the song, The Refiner, is my favorite worship song.
Yeah.
And we've listened to that a couple times. I'm always just like, just a couple hundreds of times. And I have been talking with my mom about that song in particular, and how not only it relates to faith, but also literally everything in our lives. And, and that's kind of how it got brought up when we talked about it. It was just, it relates in health and fitness and just positive lifestyle changes in general.
Absolutely.
And I think we're both pretty passionate about that.
Yeah.
So when I said it, you kind of looked, and I kind of just threw it out there. I'm like, what do you think about the Refined Podcast? And you're like, absolutely.
Once I found out the definition behind it, it was kind of, a no-brainer. And we're both, very similar with that. We both want to do everything as best as we can and improve each day.
Yeah, should we dive into who the heck we are in the first place?
And to say, I think this first episode, we agreed that it's going to be more so, an introduction to, the podcast, but also to ourselves. So you go first, just kind of introduce yourself, touch on, where you're from, where you went to college, and how you got into, this huge positive social media, influencer life. Everyone just loves Sydney Adams.
Oh my gosh, you're ridiculous. If you're watching on video, you can see me roll my eyes right now.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I'm Sydney Adams, and I was born and raised in Kalamazoo, Michigan. I've kind of been all over the place. Went to University of Alabama for college, studied marketing and advertising, and then now I live here in Tampa, Florida. But
Tampa.
Yeah, Tampa.
Go Bucks, baby. How about them Bucks?
Yeah, I've become a Tampa local now after being with you. I'll tell you that much. All things local Tampa now.
She heard me fired up yesterday.
Yes,
Shout out Mike Evans.
Oh, Mike, whoever that is, whoever Mike Evans is. But I was a personal trainer pretty much all throughout college and worked at a gym full time throughout my undergrad, and then I decided to do online coaching once COVID hit. You couldn't even be in the gym in the first place, so I took everyone onto online training, and with that I started posting more on social media and unintentionally kind of became some kind of YouTuber, TikToker, Instagrammer, influencer type person. As crazy as that sounds, that just in a couple years that's happened. But so still an online coach, and I do a lot of lifestyle vlogs outside of just fitness.
Yeah. and I want to touch on that too. I think I've never actually told you this, but I think the reason you blew up so fast is because everything you do and say it's just so genuine, and I think everyone obviously they can just feel that through the phone, through social media,
No.
and I mean it just speaks volumes, just how genuine you really are. So I don't think it was by accident.
Yeah,
Just
you've
who
never
you are.
said that to
I
me
know,
before. That's
but
sweet.
makes sense. Yeah.
And I do. I love it, and I love that through social media I can kind of use what I studied in college. Like I studied
Yeah.
advertising and marketing, so I was always passionate about that side. And if I wasn't doing it for my own business, I think I would have been doing it for other businesses.
Yeah.
And that's
Why not
I
do
would
it?
have loved the social media aspect that way too. Yeah.
Absolutely.
All right, I think that's enough about me, right? For now.
Yeah,
Take it away.
I mean, Jayson King. I mean, not much to it. I was born in
That's
Florida.
it, Jayson King. That's
Not
it.
much to it. That's all. I was born here in Florida, a Florida boy. Vero Beach. Shout out 772. Like I said, born and raised there. In college, I played football growing up, so I was lucky enough to go to college to play football. I played at FAU down in Boca for a year, and then ended up transferring up to where I graduated at University of West Florida, which is up in the Panhandle. So after college, we'll talk a little bit about college. I studied supply chain logistics. So I have my degree in supply chain logistics and minors in marketing and management as well.
Worlds
So,
colliding.
yeah, right. Marketing. I mean, I like it as well. I don't think I, have a calling for it as much as you do, but I do still, enjoy it. I did play football, but I tried to work as much as I could as well. So I was always a server, bartender, did, those little side jobs. And then after college, I went back to Vero Beach for 3 months, and I was actually doing the Amazon delivery. Found, it was actually kind of a lot of fun. And then after that, one of my good friends, he called me. He's like, "Hey, how you been, man?" He was like, "I'm moving to Tampa. I'm gonna sell solar." So this time didn't know anything about that, but I was so tired of waking up at 6 a.m. to the vacuum from my mom. So I said, "Hey, I'll meet you there." So I ended up moving here. I've been in Tampa now for about 2.5 years, and I did the solar sales for a year, I want to say, and then went well. I liked it a lot, but I wanted to do something else, so I ended up, getting into real estate, and that's what I do now. Still currently liking it, so
Good.
yeah, it's a little bit about me. What are some things, besides, I would say, the health and fitness and kind of what you do for work? What are some things that you like to do, in your free time?
Yeah, that's good. We're always trying to find new hobbies because now that you're out of college, in college you didn't really even need hobbies. There was always something to do.
Exactly.
So after college, I think that I've really found that I love to read, and I love going to coffee shops, and I'm still learning the work-life balance and trying to find what I like outside of it. It's hard because one of my biggest hobbies is working out, but that's also a big part of my job. So love going on long walks, and I've made you into a walker too.
Yeah.
The morning walk club.
Morning walks. I know. It's crazy. Like all last week, so 2 weeks ago I did something to my neck working out, so it's like it was really bad. Couldn't work out. She heard me crying all week about it. But all last week all I did was walks every single morning, and I mean, shoot, before we met, me going on a walk, heck no.
Oh, what's funny about before me, you never went on a walk. That's the very first thing that we did when we hung out.
Yeah.
So I guess this would be a good time to tell them, unless you have some hobbies you want to tell them about.
I mean, I'll keep it short. I'm not, I've tried to pick up a few lately. My biggest one is working out, but I picked up fishing again, and I picked up, golf as well. A lot of my buddies, they golf, so I figured, hey, why not pick it up? I'm getting to that age. They say golf is like that old man sport.
Yeah, you
But,
are that age.
Retired athlete sport, so I'm picking that up. But yeah, I will say, out of all the TikToks and all the Instagram posts you post, there's always this one question I see on every single one. That question has to be, when are we getting a story time? How did you guys meet? We want to hear. So what we'll do is we'll tell both sides. We'll go ahead and start with your side first, and then we'll finish with mine.
All right. Okay, so how we met is we were at the gym, and personally I had recognized, or I had noticed you far before we ever started talking. But it was one day we were working out, and I noticed that you were sitting there with your weights, and you would put your weights up, and you weren't doing anything, and I'm like, oh no, this guy's gonna say something to me. So I was already in a wall sit right next to you, and I didn't want to get up from my wall sit because I'm like, what could this guy be saying to me? And it wasn't because I didn't want to talk to you. It was because I got so nervous, you know? It wasn't like, oh my gosh, this weirdo at the gym's going to approach me. It was like, oh my gosh, I'm going to freeze if he tries to say something to me. So I stayed in this wall sit, and I'm thinking, oh, there's no way that he's going to just sit here and wait for me to say something. And then once I finally stood up, you immediately stood up to get your weights. And so I was just in your way. I was over here thinking that you had something to say to me, and you were not even close to saying something to me. But then I apologized and said, oh, sorry, I was in your way. And then you take your headphones out, and we rattled questions at each other. You asked me if I've ever played sports before. We introduced ourselves.
Yeah.
And we probably asked each other 10 questions in a matter of 1 minute.
It was crazy.
And then we just started chatting, Did I miss anything in that?
No, I think my story's going to be a little more detailed.
Okay, yeah. I know. Mine was like, okay, we met at the gym,
no,
and there you go.
Because you went first, but I noticed some parts. So I noticed Sydney, like the first day I saw her. And my initial thought was, there's no way she's either not married. So with that being said, you know, went right to her finger and looked, didn't see a ring. So I was like, ooh, all right, she's not married, but she probably has a boyfriend. So I mean, me being me, typically a pretty shy person. So my, thought was I didn't know, I wanted to approach her, but I knew I could never bring myself to do it. There was one day I kept seeing her at the gym. I noticed her. She's like 2 benches down to the left of me. So then, I notice her. I'm not going to stare, but I'm like, looking over at her. And then I get done with a set, and I get up, I rack my weights, and she's to the right of me. So I'm thinking in my head, like, oh my goodness, did she just like move closer to me? Yeah, she was doing her wall sits, and where she was, so you have your rack where you rack the dumbbells, and then there's a wall right here. So she's doing wall sits, and this is like where the weights were that I needed. So she's kind of in the way, the weights that I need to grab. So I politely wait, and she finishes. So I get up and I grab the weights that I needed, and then I sit back down, and my music's like blaring. But I could see her in like the corner of my eye, like saying like talking to me. So I immediately take out my headphone, and I'm like, what was that? She's like, I'm so sorry, I was in your way. I'm like, oh no, you're okay. Completely probably blushing.
Yeah.
And then,
right.
We rattled off, questions and questions. So we kept seeing each other. But my fellas. So, the great question was, did you ever play sports? That's the first thing that came to my head.
Yeah.
But what I wanted to say is, I didn't ask for your number. It took me like, the 6th time that we saw each other to ask for your number. But I planned that out. I didn't want to come off the second time I saw her and ask for her number, and she thought, okay, like, I don't know, I just thought that was too soon for what I was, my intentions weren't, just to get your number, text you for a little bit, hang out maybe once, and then whatever. So I was like, I don't want her to catch that vibe. I waited and waited and waited, and then finally, I didn't even ask.
I know. Oh, I can't even believe that happened. It's so not like me. After we had both walked out at the same time at the gym, and you had brought up hanging out or showing me around town because I had said that I'd never been over to St. Pete, which is over here near Tampa. And you had said, yeah, well, let me know if you ever want to go see St. Pete or something, or have me show you around. And I was like, oh, yeah, well, here's my phone number.
Yeah.
And take my phone number. And I couldn't even believe that I did that because that's so not like me. And
I feel
after
like
that,
we
I'm
could
like, what?
talk about this forever and ever, but so there was one point, we had talked one day, and she said that she loved Armature Works, going there to work. So I said, next time you go, let me know. We had already like followed each other on Instagram at this point.
Yeah.
So then that same day, I see that she posts a story, and guess where she's at? Armature Works. Guess who didn't get an invite? Me.
Oh,
So
crush your dreams.
Me, overthinking everything. I'm like, dang. Yep, not into me. So at that point, it's kind of like that pushed me back for asking for her number like 2 months. That wasn't even like on my mind. I just didn't think that she was into me. Thought I was gonna get turned down. So then, when she offered her number, I was very happy, very shocked.
Yeah, well, and our very first time coming back, full circle back to what I said in the beginning, was first time we hung out was a walk, which is my favorite thing in the world to do.
Yeah.
But we started walking and talking, and next thing you know we had walked like 6 or 7 miles for the night. And never took a breath. I think that the first time we really hung out, I thought, man, I just talked to this guy like I had known him for 10 years. And from then on, the rest is history.
Yeah.
I just wanted to be around you all the time. I feel like we meshed so much and clicked so quickly.
Yeah,
but
I think we both can talk about this forever.
There's our story.
Maybe we'll do, a whole episode on it.
Yeah, like a Q&A or something.
Yeah, it's supposed to be just an intro. So let's talk a little bit about what they should expect from the podcast. What we have on our agenda.
Yeah, so it definitely is going to be a lot about health and fitness because that's something that we're very passionate about. But I think we're going to kind of go over all topics. Me being the planner that I am.
Yeah.
The second we started talking about podcasts, I had 500 ideas written out. I had a whole book ready for you by the end of the day. And I think a lot of it is going to be relationships in your 20s and mastering your 20s in general. And we don't want to come across, like you said, that we have it all figured out.
Because speaking for myself, that's absolutely not the case. I think, being very vulnerable and just talking, kind of how, mid-20s problems, but successes and just like a little bit of everything. It's going to be fun. And that's the goal here, is to have fun. We want you guys to be, excited each week for new episodes and, ultimately, like I said, just have fun.
Yeah, health, fitness, routines, habits. We're both all about those things, and just kind of I don't know. I think that it's gonna go in a lot of different directions. I love talking about how we've made relationships work in your 20s and living in a new place and after college living. There's so many directions that we want to go in, and we're both really excited.
Very excited.
Yes. So. But all in all, I mean, I feel like we could wrap it up and say I'm excited. We're gonna do a weekly episode, and we are happy to have our first episode go live, and the Refined Podcast is something that we're ready to go after, right?
We're ready to do it, and that just came so natural. This is gonna be good.
It is. It's gonna be good. I'm excited.
Love all you guys, and looking forward to this journey.
All right, y'all. Well, thanks so much for listening, and we'll talk to you next time.
See y'all in the next one.